Is the LA28 story getting cut?
No, it's not.
Wait, because there's nothing there.
No
Yeah, it's
host
getting
intro,
exported soon.
No, nothing.
Is it the first one?
What's it about?
Last
We don't know
one.
what to write about.
It got moved
All we have is
last.
HHH in the story.
Okay, we'll get something in for you
Right
by the time you
then.
get there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Don't worry about that.
Preach,
Did you
preach.
guys make sure the goodbyes and the intros are right?
That's what we're looking over right now. We're reading
November
through the whole
what?
thing. November 19th.
Good.
Yeah. Our board operator is Raphael Postel.
Are we doing banter? What are we doing to banter?
Ooh,
What are these?
Thanksgiving.
Wait, Thanksgiving.
Where
what are you
is my
thankful
summer
for?
Fridays?
What are you thankful for? That can be.
I
banter.
am so incredibly thankful for Taylor Swift.
I'm thankful. What am I thankful for?
And for Starbucks' holiday menu.
I'm thankful for
Myself.
the winter holiday
Winter
spirit.
was-
Consider
I'm
me
thankful
locked
for
and
the
loaded.
rush of Christmas spirit that I've been feeling.
I'm thankful for being holly and jolly and merry.
For being Holly.
Why? How do you be holly?
Please stop.
Jolly and merry.
So, it's almost Thanksgiving. What are you thankful
Oh,
for?
the mics are on.
Wait, they've low-key been on.
Say that again, please. Oh my god, my mic is. Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC in Southern California. I'm Jaden Frank and we're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Isabel Ramos Assam. It's Wednesday, November 19th. On today's show, it's International Journalist Day. More Epstein documents get released, and a federal hemp ban goes into effect. All that and more.
From Where We Are.
But first, today's headlines.
A coalition of labor activists and Democratic leaders announced a proposal to increase minimum wage. The measure would affect major California cities like LA, raising minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030. The group hopes to have the County Board of Supervisors take up the 30 by 30 measure. The LA City Council approved a similar proposal in May for hotel and airport workers, increasing their minimum pay to $30 an hour by 2028. Some businesses who oppose the measure say they would be forced to cut employees and raise prices, worsening inflation. Tommy Trojan is officially wrapped up. If you passed through Hahn Plaza today, you may have noticed the iconic USC statue looking a bit different. Tommy is wrapped in a protective duct tape-like material for the annual USC-UCLA game. The tradition goes back decades, with the Trojan Knights responsible for protecting him from the Bruins. With the game over Thanksgiving break, many of the traditional conquest traditions have changed or been canceled. The Trojans will take on the Bruins on November 29th at the LA Coliseum.
Fast food used to be a staple for those looking to dine out on the cheap, but with the price of everything going up, even fast food is becoming more of a luxury. Erica Taylor spoke with McDonald's customers about rising prices. Things are very different than they were in the 70s, when folks could feed their families on burgers and fries for just a few dollars.
If you've never been to McDonald's, you might be surprised to find that you can actually feed a family of 4 for under $4.
Bygone are the days of feeding your family at the Golden Arches for a few bucks. Fast food used to be one of the cheapest meals you could buy outside of your own kitchen. But now, the industry is watching one of its core customer groups, low-income families, walk away. McDonald's says traffic from low-income customers has dropped by double digits. At the same time, people with higher incomes are visiting more often. Industry analysts say this is happening across fast food chains nationwide. The reason? Prices are up on everything. We asked customers like Maria Bolivas and her husband Sixto Hernandez if they had noticed the price increase.
Bastante. Sí. Mucho. Ya no le alcanza a veces a uno nada. Todo está muy caro.
They said it's hard to have enough to eat out these days. McDonald's says its average menu item costs 40% more than it did 5 years ago. A Big Mac that used to cost about $4.50 now runs more than $5. A McNuggets meal that was $7 is now over $9. The company points to higher costs for beef, labor, and supplies. Drought and trade disputes have pushed beef prices up. For customers living paycheck to paycheck, even small increases can hit hard. Despite noticeable price jumps, some students say they are still able to find cheap and tasty meals at the chain. Tony Lee, a first-year USC student in the teaching program, shared how he received several free meals last month through the chain's Monopoly game.
I guess like McDonald's in particular, they have a lot of activities or just say like things they do like for discount or whatever. So it's actually kind of convenient. I still come here quite a lot.
The app has also made it easy for customers to apply rewards for free items. Fast food once relied on value menus like the dollar menu to attract customers looking to spend less. But executives say the higher costs of restaurant essentials, such as beef and salaries, have pushed food prices up and driven away lower-income customers who are already being squeezed by the rising cost of groceries, clothes, rent, and childcare. Even with discount bundles and $5 combos, many Americans find fast food is no longer the affordable option it once was. For Annenberg Media, I'm Erica Taylor.
Yesterday, Congress officially passed the Epstein files bill after a 247-1 House vote. Once the president signs, the files are getting released. But will the bill really release all of the files? Sarah Goldstein has the story.
The bill that will force the release of the Epstein files has been sent to the desk of President Trump, where it will await his signature. Once signed, the bill will require the full release of all documents and case files related to Jeffrey Epstein. USC professor of law, political science, and public policy Abby Wood says that by her predictions, the Congressional Oversight Committee will have their hands full in the coming days. She explains that the committee will be responsible for keeping tabs on all those involved in the preparation of the Epstein files for full public release.
I would imagine what we're going to see is a pretty big emphasis on oversight, especially where Republicans think it's going to serve them, and maybe a lighter touch on people who might be mentioned in the Epstein files where the party controlling Congress does not think it will serve them.
The bill has one major listed exception. The Epstein files will all be fully distributed aside from those which, quote, jeopardize active investigations or ongoing prosecutions, end quote. Many are worried about the repercussions or potential further political manipulation that could come as a result of this legal loophole. This could lead to major delays in the release of the Epstein files, seeing as Trump has already called for investigations into Epstein's links with prominent Democratic leaders like Bill Clinton and Larry Summers to determine their connections to Epstein. This could lead to major delays in the release of the Epstein files, seeing as President Trump has already called for investigations into Epstein's links with prominent Democratic leaders like Bill Clinton and Larry Summers to determine their connections to Epstein. USC professor of law Jody Armour warns about the potential consequences of this clause.
It's a concern anytime you allow discretionary leeway and loopholes. And if you create one that says if someone's under investigation, you do not have to release information about them, then that could incentivize someone who had something to hide to go around investigating a lot of people.
This skepticism has been heightened by Trump's sudden flip in support of this bill, with the GOP's support following his lead. Epstein survivors like Haley Robson have spoken out about their distrust in the switch, wondering if some of the documents may have been altered before this bill was pushed through. Professor Armour doesn't necessarily think that skepticism is a bad thing.
It's healthy to be skeptical and recognize that you can do things like redacting and other kinds of ways of masking information that maybe should see public scrutiny.
USC political science student Jessica Deal also has her doubts about President Trump's intentions.
It brings up the question of whether his name was brought up in these files, which is why these investigations are now being called upon. And I just think that it's just a little interesting, especially how quickly he turned his decision around.
There is also curiosity surrounding President Trump's membership in the Democratic Party between the years of 2001 and 2009, which might link him to Democratic officials mentioned in the Epstein files. These are the majority of individuals currently under investigation by the Department of Justice, raising questions about President Trump's involvement in some documents and allegations dated back to that time frame. For Annenberg Media, this is Sarah Goldstein.
I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom.
The multi-billion-dollar hemp industry may no longer be buds with the federal government. Last week, Congress ended the government shutdown with a new federal spending bill signed into law by President Trump. Rolled into that new legislation was a provision that will effectively ban most hemp-derived THC products in the U.S. The goal is to close a loophole left in the 2018 Farm Bill that allows hemp products with THC to be sold. Nayamane has the story.
The new provision lowers the amount of THC allowed in hemp products, such as vapes, gummies, topical pain creams, and even CBD drinks. This new rule could ban anything with more than 0.4 milligrams of THC. It could effectively recriminalize more than 95% of all hemp extract products on the market, regardless of whether they have any intoxicating effect. This could disrupt the over $20 billion cannabis industry, putting dispensaries and farmers alike out of business. The Cannabis Business Times reports that upwards of 300,000 jobs could be eradicated. Alex Shamil is a general manager of a local dispensary, La La Land. It sits about a mile from USC and is decorated with bright teal paint on the exterior and scents of fruity incense on the interior. Shamil says the new law strikes him as an attempt to take less heavily taxed items like hemp off the market.
Well, they're taxing the cannabis and they can't tax the hemp. That's the only reason I think they're trying to eliminate hemp products.
Some of these products are for medical use, used to mediate anxiety or pain. As far as recreational use, cannabis supporters feel like they may be about to revert to times of prohibition. Madeline Kelly is a senior and president of USC's Cannabis Club. She believes that the only way to stop a restigmatization of cannabis is by staying informed on how cannabis can be used to help people.
If people continue to be informed and just do their own research and stuff, we'll see how they feel. With other states, though, definitely, we'll see how it's enforced, because if it's enforced poorly, then that stigma is obviously going to proliferate.
The hemp ban is scheduled to take effect 1 year after the government reopening bill was signed, November 13th, 2026. Although the future of the cannabis industry is unclear, people like Shamil at La La Land know cannabis products will never fully go away.
Well, cannabis is always going to be around. It's just a legality way. They're going to just criminalize people for whoever grows it or distributes it, pretty much. But it's going to be there, so it's not going away.
And neither will cannabis customers. For Annenberg Radio News, I'm Nayamane.
How do I know? I read it in the Daily News. Daily News.
Happy International Journalist Day. Today we are celebrating all the reporters, editors, photographers, and journalists around the world who help inform the public one story at a time. Jaden Higman looks at the current state and the future of our profession.
Journalism isn't just about headlines. It's a unique profession that holds power accountable, gives voice to the public, and sheds light on people's everyday stories. But the field also faces many challenges, even as there's more content than ever on social and digital platforms. USC alumnus and Los Angeles Times reporter Andrew Corey says no one really knows what the media landscape will look like in the future, given how rapidly the industry is changing.
Going forward for the industry as a whole, I do see it, unfortunately shrinking to some extent, and us having to try to figure out how to handle that and, really pick our spots on what to cover and what not to cover, because we just don't have the capacity to do sort of what we used to.
According to the Pew Research Center, about 10 years ago, 3/4 of U.S. adults had a lot or some trust in national news. Now, that number is way down, by 20 points. And USC journalism professor Gabriel Kahn says that lack of trust could get even worse, with more and more content generated by AI.
What we're about to see is an even bolder, more stark transformation of our media landscape, where synthetic media is going to flood our screens in ways that I don't think we're quite prepared for. It is going to challenge our notions of being able to discern what is fact from fiction.
Kahn cautions the public and journalists to be skeptical of what we're fed as news.
That feed that we're looking at all the time is going to become increasingly unreliable, unrepresentative of what's happening in the real world because of the rise of AI-generated content.
LA Times reporter Andrew Corey says no one really knows yet what the pros and cons of AI will be. But he says he already sees its uses. For example, sorting quickly through large amounts of documents.
Instead of looking through 100 different complaints, maybe you search for some keywords and see if there is something there worth reporting on. And that could save you a lot of time and lead to better journalism.
But trust and verify.
You would then need to go back and fact check all that.
USC Annenberg journalism student Nicholas Corral says when he tells people what he's studying,
a lot of times when I talk to someone about what I'm doing, a lot of times they're surprised that people want to go into journalism, but they're excited. They're grateful that someone wants to be out there looking out for the public. So the fact that people recognize there is a need for journalism really motivates me to keep pursuing this.
And on this International Journalist Day, we vow, despite the current pressures, to continue to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. For Annenberg Media, I'm Jaden Higman.
The 2028 Olympics and Paralympics are quickly approaching. Kaya Saad spoke with Rachel Miller, one of the co-executives of the Student Assembly for Accessibility on campus, on the importance of representation for those with accessibility needs.
Topic of the day is the Paralympics. They're a ways away, but they really do seem to be quickly approaching. How do you, as someone that really advocates for accessibility, how important is something like the Paralympics just in your world?
It's incredibly important. I think representation is everything to me. We're in a society where people are constantly viewing disabled people as what they can't do. So having something as big as the Paralympics showcasing so many hardworking, wonderful athletes, constantly disproving what it means and what disabled people can actually do, just builds my confidence so much because it pushes me so much further, and I can see myself in those people. And because I can do that, I know I can achieve way more than what society believes I can.
Seeing a major university really make strides like that is really important. I want to focus in on Ezra Fretch, the high jumper, gold medal Olympian, and probably, arguably the most successful currently enrolled track and field athlete at USC. How does seeing someone like that make you feel as someone who's fought for accessibility?
Yeah, he's amazing, and he's the nicest person ever. And so to have someone like that be represented in that way is amazing. And I think it does so much for our community because we have more awareness, and more awareness means some more acceptance. And so just having him be the amazing person that he is, and humble and kind and just an amazing athlete. Just breaks down so many barriers for us.
I want to ask about the preparation that kind of goes into pursuing athletics while still fighting for accessibility. What does that preparation kind of look like? You know, we wanted to talk to his coach, Drew Petersmeyer, on how that is. But, you know, you have experience in athletics, and obviously you had to prepare, you know, when you were a child, like for like a tournament or whatever. What are the differences in preparation when one is, you know, now fighting like for accessibility?
Yeah, I play a little bit of wheelchair basketball when I'm not being yelled at for being in the key for more than 3 seconds, because that is a rule that I just didn't know until I actually played the sport. And so, of course, wheelchair basketball, once you get on the court, is as accessible as it can be, but no one thinks about actually getting to the court. So parking, navigating roads, streets, sidewalks, bringing your actual normal wheelchair and your sports chair. So I think it's the preparation that beforehand goes unnoticed. Because we are constantly fighting for accessibility rights everywhere off the court. So just because the court is accessible doesn't mean we can actually get to the court.
Yeah, so would you say it's just like it's a constant battle of, you know, even when you have established spaces that are like accessible, especially to people who are fighting for accessibility, but it's a battle even in getting there, and not only making sure that it exists, but once it exists, getting to that place.
Yeah, the world's not truly accessible, which funding and other stuff can contribute, which I completely understand, but making spaces and making it people are aware of it, could help bring change.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to say to accessibility, to the Paralympics, to how USC is approaching it and what you've seen?
Just because sports look a little different doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue what you want to pursue. I grew up with a sports background, and when I became a wheelchair user, that completely changed my life. And because it didn't look like it was before, I thought I couldn't do it until I saw representation and I saw myself on screen with things like the Paralympics and just talking through friends and finding my community. So the fact that USC is holding space for that and making a safe space for a community to be built is amazing, and I hope people take the opportunity.
That was Rachel Miller, a co-executive with USC's Student Assembly for Accessibility, in conversation with Annenberg Media's Kai Assad.
And that's all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. Susan Urenda executive produced today's show. Carl Masad produced today's show. We had help from Kai Assad, Kaylee Bryant, Lizzie Leoto, Sophia Ketterer, and Audrey Reiser.
Our board operator is Raphael Postel. Our livestream manager is Kayla Shu. Our audio director is Leslie Bernstein Rojas. Sebastian Gruba and Sam Bittman are our technical supervisors. And Derek Renfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News, Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are, wherever you're listening right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Jaden Frank.
And I'm Isabel Ramos Assam. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.
So, Isabel, can you believe it? Thanksgiving, just a week away.
Oh my,
I'm so happy about this information.
What are you thankful for?
I think we have an agreement on this.
We are thankful for
Christmas spirit. Who needs Thanksgiving? I never liked turkey anyways.
I think we should skip
ready
to
for
Christmas.
Peppermint, hot chocolate, friendship, gift giving. What
Joy.
about you? Joy? Maybe
Christmas
even snow.
caroling.
Caroling? Yeah.
Jolly, being jolly and holly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after that Thanksgiving parade, you know what time it is.
It's already time.